My community service placement is at the Open Door. The Open Door provides youth from the ages of 14 all the way up to 24 with many different services. These services include emergency shelter, basic needs, housing, counseling, and skill development. The Open Door has an office on the main street and a secure shelter located about 2 blocks away from that, and also a 24-hour helpline. The office is where the adolescents can come when they are experiencing trouble in the home or experiencing homelessness. From there, they will be assessed and referred either to a counselor or to the shelter if that's what they need. The Open Door has a 6-week assessment period as well as a chance to prolong your stay if you're taking advantage of the amazing services they offer there. So one of two experiences that have stuck out in my mind the most in my community service learning option with the Open Door is one that when the carnival finally had paid off. It was an amazing feeling, just because I felt like the Open Door did put a little bit more pressure on me than was required for this assignment, just because I was there previously, but being able to be a part of such a wonderful thing in my community was fantastic, and it was just awesome to be able to do that. And for my second learning experience, I'll use one that's more related to teens, as it will relate more to the course content. So it was when I had a young girl ask me to go for a walk. I think she was 18, which I guess isn't that young, but like newly to the bar stage. And she had asked me to go for a walk, and we were walking around the lake, and she had told me that she was being taken advantage of every Wednesday night when she worked at the bar. Because the shelter was closed, we don't let kids in after midnight, she was unable to get back in after her shift at the bar. So she was having to stay at random's house and having to sleep with them in order to have a place to stay. And for me, this was just a really awful thing. And I was able to connect theory with practice, just about she has all of these exterior stressors on her, and the Open Door is causing her not to go back there. So now she's stuck staying at somebody else's house, when those boys probably just think that she's, sorry for my language, but a slut, right? When that's actually not the case at all. So it was just kind of like a really sad thing for me, but being able to learn the content afterwards was really awesome because I was able to put that together. Two things that have stuck in my mind about the course content is, one, the statistics behind assaults and why people do not report their victimization. Victimization is caused by unfair treatment or an individual who felt adversity. The second concept is everything I've learned about the media and how they control absolutely everything, which nobody mentions while you're in high school. It is hard to ignore the truth behind the crime that is hidden. 38% of all crimes are violent crimes, and 20% of people reported being the victim at least one crime in 2014, and 31% of these crimes were reported to police. The 3 reasons people did not report the victimization was because they thought that the incident was too minor to report, which is never true, and that it was a personal matter, which I guess I understand, but still. Or that they knew the predator was not going to get punished. These statistics and learnings have really stuck to me as to why I'm taking the class. As a female, I find these statistics kind of discouraging, only because now, after being an educated female and also knowing about Sociology 261 and a little bit behind the social work practice, is that if something like this happened to me, I wouldn't report it, because I know that the victims are most likely antagonized, and also that there is a good chance that your perpetrator is not going to be charged, and it's a long emotional road that, for me personally, I would make the choice not to, and that is only because I am educated behind the topic, and I might personally be taking this the absolute wrong way, but as a social worker, I will do everything in my power to change this and to make it more of an open topic. The second was the way that the media does or does not contribute to informing the public of current news events in Canada. The media is known to cause moral panic on society, and moral panic is a fear of crime that influences the well-being of society. An example of how the media neglects society would be the Highway of Tears. I'm a Canadian student, and I visit the beautiful British Columbia every summer, And how was I, a social work student, unaware of the death and disappearance of mostly Aboriginal women when we have an entire class on that? When we were learning about how the media behind criminology, there was a sex offender in my hometown, actually. He was 19 and just being convicted at the time. This kid ruined a girl's life and humiliated her. And this stuck in my mind because they advertised that he was named Rookie of the Year for his Junior B hockey team. And to me, Junior B is nothing to be proud of, especially when you're a sex offender. He was a white privileged male, and this was a perfect example of to what we were learning about the media in criminology. For my self-reflection, I chose to focus on number 3, 4, and 5. So for number 3, how did this situation challenge or reinforce my personal values, beliefs, or convictions? So with the open door and my practicum experience, my carnival experience, and my CSL and everything plus the course, has just backed up my thoughts that these kids are a product of their environment, that this is what they were taught, this is what they were grown up to believe is fair or right, and that it's not their fault. And it's really hard for people to understand the outside correlations weighing in on criminals, because that's all they are, is criminals to some people. But to me, that's most certainly not the case, and all this has done is make my passion and my understanding of why they commit crimes better. So I thoroughly enjoyed that, and it has done nothing but back up my values and beliefs. And number 4 is, so if I ruled the world, this issue would be different because homeless shelters would not have any money issues. And if teen homeless shelters didn't have any money issues, we could take in every teen, we could hire top of the line counselors, they'd all get new winter jackets when it's cold, they'd all have college trust funds after completing high school. That's how it would be different. What a world that would be, hey? But basically one of the main issues with the open door is lack of funds, just because it's an epidemic and there's lots of people who need services, and unfortunately there's only so much money. And in the future, what am I going to do to help? I graduate from my social work diploma this year, and I have plans to go on to my bachelor's. And the reason that I want to go on to my bachelor's was actually because of the open door. A realization that I came to after my practicum was that I want to help this population. This is the population that I feel needs me, and I need further education so that I am able to help this population. I hope that I can be a social worker that takes the time to individually help each client and assess the needs and understand the outside correlations that have caused them to do the things that they have done, and understand that children are a product of their environment. And that's my goal for the future, and this class has done nothing but reinforce me and educate me a little more.